Hello, welcome back to the Creative War Podcast. I am your host, Kel Bailey, and today we have a very special guest. We got my homie, my friend, Josh Orr here. A lot of you know who he is, but you don't know his story or his testimony. Josh Orr is an incredible musician. I've always enjoyed listening to him play, whether on organ or on keys. And he's one of the homies. So I want you guys to stay tuned for this episode. We're about to have a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're listening on podcast, thank you for subscribing. But if you're here on YouTube, like this video for me. And if you have yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe. All right, let's get into the interview. Today we have a special guest. We have my brother Josh Orr in the building. How you feeling today, my brother?
What's good, bro? I'm good. Tired and all, but I'm good.
I'm glad to hear that. So if you don't know who Josh Orr is an incredible keyboard player, organ player. Which one do you consider yourself more of? Well, when you talk to people, do you say, hey, I'm a keyboard player? Do you say I'm an organ player? Or do you just kind of look at those as, you know, the same?
As of late, I'll probably say I'm an organ player.
Okay.
I love keys. Keys will always be my heart, but that sounded very sentimental. I ain't like that. But
sound very powerful.
Very powerful. But yeah, man, organ is definitely my strong suit at this point. So
gotcha. So where did I always like to ask my guests this, where did your journey with music start at? I mean, since I've came across your content like maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 2013, like you've been always like amazing. You've always had this sound. So like where did your musical drive and your musical inspiration come from? Like where did it start at?
Man, believe it or not, it started in a quartet field.
That's random.
Very random. I have stories for days from my parents and other people in the church. They would tell me when I was a kid, the only way to keep me quiet from crying and all that other jazz is if I had Cantor Spirituals right in front of me. Legit. Yeah. If I didn't have on a suit, mind you, this is during the week. This is not church. This is during the week. If I was not suited with a tie and all that jazz and Cantor Spirituals wasn't in front of me, I would give them the blues. So it started from there, honestly. And then I think around the age of 3, my mentor, Bishop Askew, I saw him playing one day. Initially, my first love, drums.
Everyone.
Oh, yeah. Wanted to be a drummer.
Yep.
And I think at the age of 3, I was in church and I saw Bishop Askew playing the organ. And from what they told me, I went to my mom, was like, I want to play like him. I want to be like him. And so every weekend, watch him play, come back home, had this little 15 keys, portable keyboard. And I'll just, try to play and mimic what I heard. It got to the point where this old lady, excuse me, she had bought me like this portable organ. It was like a box, and I had the box organ, a little keyboard at the top, and then I had another little keyboard at the bottom to make me a portable organ.
Come on.
And so actually I have a picture of it too. And I'll try to like do something. Mind you, my feet is too big for the little keyboard at the bottom. But honestly, yeah, that's where the music journey started, man. Just having a love for keys, organ, and just watching and observing.
So you learned, I guess you like started playing like around 3 or 4, 5?
4. I think I was 3.5 when I started like, playing at it. Really started playing like around 4.
That's amazing. So what did your development look like? Like when did you, because I doubt like there's not too many people at 3 or 4 that's actually really, really killing. So
Right.
so I'm sure, like, where did your development like really start? Like, when did it start making sense? So you're 3, you're 4, you're 7, you turn 8, you turn 9. When did it start turning into like, oh snap, this kid Josh is going to be something? Like,
I want to say at the age of 7,
mm,
6 or 7. I had like my first solo in church, I think around 6. And then I started playing for junior church. And then it became a thing where I started playing for the afternoon service at 7. And that was because we had a musician. Um, he had experienced like a lot of death in the family. So he was like
mm,
gone, attending to his family. And we really didn't have nobody for real that could like
yeah,
really hold the service. We had people that could like really like play at, when it came to shout music, yeah, we were good. But as far as like playing songs and stuff, that was like hit or miss. And so during that time, I would just try to like pick up, because mind you, I'm playing by ear. So
yeah,
I'm trying to pick up what I'm hearing. If I hear the melody, I try to match a chord. And so my ear for like learning songs really didn't develop till about 8 or 9.
that's still
So that
amazing.
but that time at 7 years old playing the afternoon service was like my breaking ground for a groundbreaking moment for me to like really try to develop that ear. So yeah, that's how that started. So I think around 7 or 8, that's when it started to like, okay, this kid could actually do something or be
Be
something. So
something. Yeah, no, that's correct. So I don't know this. So did you grow up in House of God?
born and raised.
Let's go.
Born and,
So
my mom, she was born Baptist, and my dad had no church background. Like,
amazing.
yeah, so yeah, born and raised.
So when did you meet? Because you and Jaden is kind of like around the same age, right?
No,
He's much younger.
he's much younger than me.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, snap! You're 1 year older than me. So I guess Jaden is what, like 4 or 5 years younger than us.
Yeah, I think he's like what, 23? I think
I
he's
would assume
23.
so. So, because I was about to ask, how much did he influence your journey? Y'all being both in the same organization, but he's much younger than you. So I remember the
That
videos. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I'm about to say around. I want to say he came to my church, because his family lives here in Cleveland. They had like an appreciation service for his great grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, he came to my church. I think he was about like 10, 9 or 10, and I was just like, "What the heck is this guy?" Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he's sitting on the edge of the bench, but killing, man. And the crazy thing is, and it's not like to like whatever to my own horn,
Mm-hmm.
but besides me, I haven't seen nobody, especially in
Yeah.
the organization, to come up playing like chords that people like struggle with low key. So it was,
Yeah.
at his age, he was much advanced than I was.
Mm.
Goodness gracious! So it was just like, yo, this is crazy. So I think around that time, I was just like, yo, he's he's gonna be a problem. And then when we started like playing together for real, like his influence on like how I play, he doesn't know it. He think I be joking, but like
Yeah.
no, like he's that guy. I always say like Jaden's top one, and will
Yeah.
forever for like the next
Without a
50.
doubt. You know, like what's crazy to me is like we see these kid phenoms, they grow up, they peak really, really fast. And
Yeah,
then everyone catches up to them. It's like, you 6 years old, you turn 14, everyone can play at 14. But it's like Jaden, the thing that I admire about him is his trajectory just has gone all the way up. Now he's up there and everyone's just like, you're still amazing, you
yeah,
know?
and still trying to do things that he did at 15 years old. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, he's that guy. So
Crazy. So House of God, I didn't know this until like 2016, maybe 2017, but y'all have a lot of killers that has come through the organization and come out of the organization. How
Yeah,
did it feel, or when did you know that you were a part of such a great organization that is full of talented musicians?
I want to say around 13 or 14 years old.
Mm,
And that's when I really started like coming around to the conventions and youth conferences. Um, but honestly, I want to say my eyes weren't open until like 17, and that's because I found out that they were actually like doing stuff outside of the organization. So
mm,
it was like the old Joe Pace albums that I would listen to. Had no idea that it was, majority of the House of God people either
crazy.
sing or playing, and it was just like, man, what? This is crazy. Like, so yeah, I think around those two ages, I realized like, yo, like I'm amongst like great people, like
Yeah.
legends. So, and then
Yeah,
the
I think
thing is, like, people don't really recognize it. Like House of God, it's not really known for
mhm.
real. I mean, it's starting to get known, but like it's not a thing until people ask, like, "Where you from?" "Oh, I'm from House of God." Really? So yeah, it's just one of them things. So
Yeah, that's what I was about to say cuz I mean, we all grew up, everyone knows about Kojic, we
right,
know about, I guess, Baptist stuff. We know
mm-hmm.
about the big names like, that stuff, and then I think House of God is big in its own right, but at the same time it's like there's so many great musicians that's in
Right.
that organization, and if you don't know, you just literally don't know. Like I remember I came to the 2017 what was it, the youth, no, it was the y'all actual convocation joint.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't really expecting much. Like me and my homie John, me and OJ, we all
Yeah.
rode down and we were excited to be there. Of course, we didn't really know what to expect. All we knew was Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ. That's what we
Right.
grew up in. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So we
Exactly.
get there, it's David Cartwright, you got Jaden, the
Mm-hmm.
other guy on Aux, I can't think of his name right now.
John
Yep.
Willis.
Yep. And then you got Witchamajig on drums, like a whole bunch of guys that just are killing. Y'all are in rehearsals going for it. And I think we were kind of like, wow, like
Yeah.
this is great to be a part of. This is great to watch. And yeah, I admire you guys for that. Like you guys have built something great.
Yeah. It's definitely something to like actually like be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Even, even the late night rehearsals where we're practicing songs and then the next day we don't even get a chance to do it. Like,
Yeah.
but it those times of like rehearsing, it built that camaraderie, like of like, yo, like these are close knit brothers, in the music department and outside the music department. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a great feeling, man, to be a part.
That's amazing. So, who are your influences outside of, like, who are some of those people that you think about, like, my sound changed when I met this person?
Hmm.
And because I think we all have those guys where it's like when we got access to them on YouTube, it's like, oh, snap, this person changed the way that I think musically.
Um, for sure, Corey Henry. Um,
Amazing. I didn't know you were going to say that.
yeah, it got to a point like when I was really listening to him, it got to a point where like I was mimicking like his every move that I could do for one.
I was about
Cause
to say that because how do you? My thing with Corey Henry, there are certain musicians that are just so great. I admire them. I admire their work, but I'm not necessarily inspired by them because it's like I can't understand your language. You're speaking a
right,
different language, so it's like this is amazing to hear, but I'm not going to sit down to try to figure out what you're doing.
yeah,
So how do
it's
you
more
retain that and
so,
understand that?
it's more so like the subtle things that like that resonate. So like it could be something very simple, but it's at the right time, and
Okay.
like also he will feel it. So it's like I would resonate with it because it's like he's feeling what he's playing. So
Yeah.
those type of things, like I gravitated towards, and I was just like, yeah, even like I said, the small runs or like small woke ups, like I could like figure out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and
Okay.
it was just like a gravitational pull. Like, yeah, I'm drawn to this because everything that he plays, like he feels, and like that's the type of player I am. Like I like to feel what I'm playing, so it can come across that one, I know what I'm doing.
Yep. Yep.
I'm into what I'm playing, and that people can benefit from. So
That's good. Um, did you have any other dreams when you were growing up? Or what were your dreams when you were younger and you were growing up? Like, did you say, "Ooh, I want to be an organ player and I want to be a traveling musician"?
honestly, man, no. Um, this is honestly, and I said this with no fear or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like God really gave me this because I had no like desire to be like a producer or organ player, a known organ player, like things of that nature. Like no shame or whatever, but house of God, like that's all we know, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Being sheltered at the same time, as far as like household wise, you don't really know much for real. You just
Mm-hmm.
know what's in front of you. So I think the most I wanted to be was like a basketball player.
Yeah.
You know, watch basketball, but outside of that, like I was just a normal kid, whatever, that really didn't think about like aspirations and or goals or who I wanted to be like. So I think that's the reason why like God deposited this gift and talent inside of me at an early age because
Mm-hmm.
I mean I was just chilling. And honestly
Yeah.
to this day I still be chilling. Like I tell people all the time, I have a love and hate relationship with music, man, because it's just like
Really.
absolutely
Talk about
like
that.
because it's such a demand on
Mm.
on, on what I do, and it's not to brag. It's literally to give insight on what people go through
Let's talk
behind,
about it. I need to hear this.
yeah, like behind closed doors, man. Like it's does this sound right?
Yeah.
Does this make sense? I don't think I'm this. I don't think I'm that. Mind you, on the outside, people singing your praises like, "Yo, you're killing. I want to be like you when I grow up. How did you do this? How did you do that?"
Yep.
And it's like you're stuck in between what you feel like you're not capable of and what people want to be,
Mm.
and it's you that want to be like. So it's just like, what the heck? And
Dang.
so it's a matter of like literally putting yourself in God's hands and letting Him map out everything. Because having the mindset of I don't know if I'm capable of doing this, or just if ands or buts, or should I not, you're gonna go crazy, and next you know you look up, it's 10 years from now, you're still stuck.
Come on.
And so like this whole journey, honestly, I can literally say, even like up until now, that everything that I've done, God gave it to me. Because if it was left up to me, I would not be where I am today. And it's because of those thoughts or
Yeah.
questions of why am I doing this, or does this sound right? I don't know if I like this. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I should put this out. I don't know. Like it's just yeah, man. So it's just a matter
Dang.
of like once God give you something, it's really His job to lead you and guide you.
Love
Because
that.
if you try to do it on your own, it's shipwreck for real. So
Yeah. Hey, bro, that's so good. Like, I love talking anytime I get to talk to you yourself or like just the homies and just to hear the transparency of like these conversations. Cause I think especially with social media. I think we're all looking at the next man and we're
But
admiring their gifts. Like we
mm-hmm.
see you, but you see somebody else where you're like, yo, how did he
Exactly.
do that? And it's like everyone's looking up, which can be good because it lets you know that you're not the standard. It lets you know that if you're in your own world and you think you're it, you're not it.
Right.
Like it keeps you humble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Like, but I love to hear that you say that. Like, so you talked about the demand of being a musician. Like sometimes we glamorize, or just younger musicians or musicians in general. It's like, I want to get out there on the road. I want to travel. I want to do live recordings. But what does preparation look like? What does it look like to? I'll ask because this is a loaded question. What does it look like to have to be a traveling musician? Walk us through what that looks like. You say that you're going out next week, but what does it look like to be gone from Monday through Thursday? How do you prepare for that?
Man, honestly, I don't. I
What do you
don't.
mean?
The only thing I do as far as like preparation wise is my clothes.
Okay.
Mentally, I show up because if I if I if I leave it up to me, I'm gonna overthink it.
Mm,
Or I'm not going to like show up at my best because I'm too much in my head. Like I'm an overthinker by nature. Like I,
so yeah, let's talk about that. So that's something that you kind of like struggle with, like just overthinking,
it,
whether it's ideas, whether it's playing. Really,
yeah, it's pretty bad. Like it's pretty bad. Like
why is it
it's
like this? Like why?
honestly, man, it's and this is another thing. Like if you don't know who you are outside of your musicianship, your craft,
Yep.
once that's over with,
Yep.
you left to open devices because you're not sure who you are. And
Identity.
so
Yep.
yeah, identity crisis and everything. So like unlearning the mindset of this is who I am versus this is a part of me.
Yep.
Like sometimes it takes time to like get out of that mindset because like I said, I'm 29. I've been playing since 3.
Yeah.
Like that's a long time to just like be in one state of mind and trying to unlearn what's been told to you or things of that nature. So like I'm an overthinker by nature, like because I've been programmed to think one way.
Yeah.
So learning now, you just like, okay, should I think this? Should I think that? Should this go here? Should this go there? And like you're not confident of who you are because you're still battling with like your identity. Not saying like I'm in midlife crisis,
Yeah. No,
but
I definitely get what you're saying.
yeah. So like, but sometimes it can become a routine of overthinking. It's just like, yo, settle yourself. Like you got
Yeah.
this. And so it's just a matter of that. So
Another thing I think to mention as well is once we're in a certain mindset for so long, once we rehearse the same thing over and over and over, it's just not a simple thing of I'm going to think different now. Like that's
exactly.
now a part of you. So even if you know that you're capable of something, or even if you know that you need to approach a different situation, you still have that old narrative in your mind where you have to be like, no, like this is going to be good. Like if I place this in this track right now, this is going to make sense. Like I've I've done this enough for it to make sense, you know? But now it's interesting to hear you say that. I talked to another musician, one of my homies, and he's incredible. He's in my top 5, but literally the exact same thing that you're saying is one of the things that he told me is he struggles with overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you've done records. You've been in
Um,
these rooms. You've been
right.
across the world. Like, what do you mean? You like, I ain't gonna say you've won, but it's like, I
Nah,
look at you and I admire what you've done, you know?
yeah. And thing is, and I don't want to be like too spiritual, but like
Hey,
sometimes,
let's go there.
like some people that deals with that, like on a spiritual aspect, like if it's a God given gift,
Hmm.
you have to rely on God, like
Yep.
because
Come
he
on.
he's the source of it, And
Yeah.
two, you didn't create this on your own. Like, so you trying to come up with things and make it fit, it's not going to resonate until like God gives it to you.
Yep.
So 9 times out of 10 for me, I feel like sometimes musicians struggle with that because they're not really acknowledging God with
Yeah.
as far as like how should I do this, how should I do this, how should I do that, how should I play this, or especially when it comes to production, because
Come
you
on.
don't want a song to just be all over the place. You want it to be meaningful and last decades. Like
Yep.
not just something like, oh yeah, I put this out, I'm a producer. No,
Hmm.
you want your content to be meaningful and it can last. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I feel about that. So
No, I love that. Like, so for me, like to share a little bit about myself, like I struggle with overthinking and maybe a little bit of anxiety in other areas musically. But as
mhm.
far as like releasing music, it's like I have this naiveness enough to think that like, all right, when I put this out, people are gonna like this. Like, and it's nothing that's like arrogant. I think that's just kind of like a thing that God has given me to be like,
Yeah,
oh, I think people are gonna listen to this. Like, someone may like this. And it's kind of
yeah,
funny, like if you like people that really know me know that's kind of like my personality. Part of me can be very naive and like
yeah,
just believe the best about people, and it's kind of
yeah,
funny, but that kind of works in my favor, like being a musician and trying to do content and trying to do YouTube, because it takes a certain level of confidence. Even if you
legit,
know you're good at something, it takes a certain level of confidence to be like, all right, I'm producing this record and this record sounds good and the world is about to hear and they're going to like it. Like
yeah.
so many musicians do not release music because of their confidence and overthinking. So you got to have that confidence. Like, bro, and it's crazy. Like your stuff is so killing.
And the thing is, I've sat on music and I'm still sitting on music. It's
Oh,
kind of
Lord.
I'm definitely gonna put forth a better effort.
Yeah.
I've been getting rebuked nonstop from my close homies. But even with like Peace of Mind, like
Yep.
that that took me 2 years to release.
Yeah. And it's not that the idea wasn't done, I'm guessing.
No, the idea was it was done.
Yeah.
But what really put a fire in me, and I've shared this before, I had created something and there there I go again trying to like, I don't know if I should put this out. No, I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it. All right, go on like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm scrolling on Instagram and I come across this video. And it's a video promoting a song that's coming out. And it's literally melody for melody, chord for chord, right? Different beat, but same concept. And I was like, I'm getting mad, right? I'm like, yo, this is my idea. As if
For
like
real?
as if I shared it with somebody. Like, mind you, this is just between me and myself, keyboard, whatever. I ain't telling nobody about this.
So no one has access to this track or heard it.
Nobody has access.
That's crazy.
Nobody. I'm like, man, what? This is my song. I'm getting mad. And
About
then
to
I hear,
DM the person, like, yo, no.
yo, this is my. And then all of a sudden I hear, what you won't do, I'll give it to somebody else.
Come on.
Man, when I mean that thing froze me,
Come
like
on.
I'm like, literally, that shook me because I ain't never been in that type of situation before. And
Mm-hmm.
then other thing is, who am I to get mad? Like, you were given a talent, a gift.
Come
You were
on. Go back
a
to the
piece
parable.
of
Come on.
right. You were given this and you didn't do it. And so I gave it to somebody else who will. And
Yeah.
think like stuff like that is divinely done for you to wake up and like, yo, what I have is God given. And if he wants me to do this, I need to do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So
Another thing I think we can look at in that situation as well is I don't think we always know the impact of what God gives us. Sometimes we downplay that. Like we're like, oh, this is
yeah,
just another song. This is just another melody. Maybe a couple of hundred people will hear this. maybe 2 or 3 people are going to hear that song and it's going to change their life, and they're going to DM you and say, hey bro, this song really changed my life. But in our mind, we see messages like that, we are appreciative, but we don't necessarily always know the impact, because it's just another compliment. It's just
Exactly.
another, like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, and thing is, like, you hear like all the time how songs like stop people from like committing suicide
Mm,
or things of
yeah.
that nature. So like stuff like that can be like taken for granted
Yep.
until you actually are put in that position where
Mm,
your music and people are saying the same things. Like, wait, what?
yep.
Like committing suicide is that's a
That's
real thing.
permanent. Yeah.
That like and that ain't nothing to play with. And
Yeah.
so to hear that like they listen to my music and all thoughts of suicide ceased, or
Yeah.
like battling depression and overwhelming peace came upon me, like, and things, stuff like that. It's like you have to do what you're
Yeah.
supposed to, because people are counting on it. Granted, this is not by your might or by your strength.
Mm,
Like, this is God given, and He's using you to be a blessing to the world for whatever they need.
yeah.
So if you stop that, then other people are being put in situations where they can't make it because you stopped what God was trying to
Yeah.
give them.
Come on. Like,
So
that makes me think about, like, I was having a conversation with someone the other week, and we were just talking about, I think sometimes we want God to speak to us in these big moments.
yeah.
We want the burning bush encounter.
Right.
We want the angel that's 9 feet tall to come speak to us and scoop us
Yeah.
up and have an encounter. And I think a lot of times God is speaking to us in small little still voices.
Hmm.
We're in the studio creating music, and God is like, this is the track that you should release. And we say, nah, 2 years on the hard drive. We'll pick it up later. God's going to speak once. And, we done moved on. We done forgot about it. But it's like, I think God is asking for our obedience in what seems like almost a small thing. It's kind of a big thing, but it's in the small things, as simple as, like, this is a melody. This is a song that needs to be in the earth. Like,
Right.
and we have to use our discernment to figure out, like, all right, I got 5 songs that are good. Which one should actually be released? Because I know not every song needs to be released. Like, some songs
Right.
are just for ourselves, but some songs is for the world to hear and to be blessed by.
Yeah, for sure. And so, like I said, I'm definitely gonna do better with
Please.
trying to release music, man. So just bear with me.
We need that. We need that.
Yeah,
So,
man.
another question is, how did you get the opportunity? We kind of talked about, like, your dreams and aspirations growing up. How did you get the opportunity to travel on the road with Mark Moore? Talk about that.
Oh man. This happened back in 2020. He was doing a thing on the internet called Quarantine's Got Talent. And so tuned into his live just casually, and he was like, yo, you need to be a part. You J, or you need to be a part. I'm like, man, what? No. Like, I'm not about to be a part of no talent show. Like,
I don't do this. You know who I
I
am.
don't
I'm
do
J.
that.
O. I
I was
already
not
can
thinking.
play. I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm playing.
That is hilarious. But I was like, nah, man, I'm good on that.
Hmm.
Then that happened a few more times on his live, uh, or yeah, a few times on his live, and then it was another live where happened again. He was like, man, if you don't get on, we fighting when I see
Yeah.
you. Man, what? So I told my mom about it. She was like, yeah, just do it. So I'm like, all right. So I did it, and from there, like, he took me off. He took me off the show, or whatever, and he had this thing in mind called Spirit and Truth. And
Mm,
basically, Spirit and Truth was to present church to people in their homes. Because at that time, the only church they were getting was their pastors in the kitchen,
Yep. Yep. Set up.
giving right, giving words of encouragement, and stuff of that nature, or of course looking at YouTube clips or whatever the case is. So we didn't have church.
It's
So
2020. That's what we're talking about.
yeah, so at that time the idea was to bring church into people's homes, and then the world started opening back up, and that's when we started traveling and things of that nature. So that's how that started. Mind you, I played for him. He came to Cleveland, and I didn't even know who he was.
Mm.
Um, he was at a church, and the MD had asked me to come play for him, and I was like, "All right, sure." Never met him, never known who he was, and I looked him up right then and said, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
somebody." Like,
He's somebody.
he's somebody for real. So and that was my first time actually playing for him. But after that, I didn't even get a chance to introduce myself to that. After that, I went home and enjoyed the rest of my evening. So, but you know, that's how everything started with him.
So how was that experience actually traveling back and forth to Atlanta? Was it weekly or a couple of times a month?
So it was a couple times a month. It started off once a month, but we would stay for like 3 or 4 days recording
Mm.
content for the entire month. So,
What did the work days look like recording content for the entire month? Was it morning, afternoon, night?
legit. Um, there was times where we recorded, I want to say like 8 services in like 3 days.
Oh, 3 days. So that's like
Yeah,
two, four. So that's like 2, 3 services a day,
yeah,
give or take.
give or take. So, but that's a lot of songs.
Oh,
So we like, and then out of nowhere, that's when we was like, we just gonna start flipping the songs and things of that nature and be creative with it, because trying to retain all that music,
mm,
like, so we had the foundation of the song, but then we just made it our own. So, but yeah, the work day or the workload, it was pretty intense when we first started, but then it started to get lighter because we just made it our own. So yeah, that's how it was.
oh, that's good. So are there any, like, you've done a lot? You've traveled, you've been a part of sessions, you've
Mhm.
done those great things. Is there any musical goals that you still have on your list that it's like I want to be able to do that one day that you haven't yet done yet?
Um, I think I'm in the process of one, and that's like producing a full album. Um, Everything I've produced were like singles.
Yeah,
So like my main goal, or yeah, honestly, I don't have that many goals because I've done so much.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like one goal for sure, I'm in the process of, and that's producing the album. So, and it's a live recording too. It's not
Let's
no
go.
studio, so that's the crazy thing. So, I think after that, honestly, it's just meeting people who I
Yeah.
think pioneers, like, and that's been a thing too, whether it's by like social media or airport.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, man, I think that's the only thing outside of everything I've done is just producing an album, which I'm currently doing. So
Let's go. What is producing an album like? So I've done my own albums. I've never done a live recording before. What does prep for a live recording look like in terms of creating, the stems, making sure the cues and everything is in track? Like what does that workload look like?
man, crazy niggas, I'm not even there yet as far as like
Okay.
putting in the cues, because I'm still in the process of like creating. Um, but the process of like what I'm doing now is just making sure that each song is seamless to go to
Mm,
the next song.
gotcha.
I
That's
don't
that's
want it to,
key.
yeah, I don't want it to be like a huge gap even like rhythm wise or like spirit wise, like
Mm-hmm.
thing has to go like seamless. So my like that's my main thing prepping for this is to make sure like each song, whether it's the intro, mainly intro and outros, that's really my biggest concern to be honest.
Yeah.
Because those moments it like solidifies what's going to be great and what was great. Like
Yeah.
like that outro, if it's not matching the intensity of the song,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like everything that you did prior to that outro is like in vain. Because like,
Okay.
you went down in flames, Loki. It's like I mean that was cool, but that outro was kind of
Yeah, that's the last thing I remember.
yeah. Or intro, you set up an intro and it's kind of terrible. It kind of put a damper on how the rest of the song is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like my main focus, well, one of my main focuses is making sure those intros and outros are like felt rather than like, oh yeah, it sounds good. No, like I want you to feel like what just happened.
Yeah.
So I think honestly for this, yeah, for this recording, it's making sure like the music is seamless.
Seamless. That's very key with like albums and stuff. Like the music definitely that I've released, that's one of the things that I always considered is how does this album flow together? Because when I studied the great albums, Marvin
Mm-hmm.
Sapp as an example, Aaron Lindsay always has done an amazing job of making
That's
track one, track two, track three, track four, maybe track five be like a little breaking point, but
yeah,
all songs flow seamlessly,
yeah,
and that's what makes people want to listen to an album. At least I think, you know.
yeah, for sure. And like I said, those intros to each of those, like even with Aaron Lizzie, especially that Thirsty album,
Yes,
that those intros on the first three or four songs, it was like
crazy,
what the heck just happened? Like,
literally.
and it sometimes it wasn't even like a bunch of stuff. It was
Yeah.
just, especially on Magnify, it just felt good.
Yep.
Like it
Super
felt good,
simple, super
right?
simple, but the way it's orchestrated together just flows.
Right. The next song, Calvin went crazy on the intro. And then
Da, 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 da,
right.
da, da, da. Crazy.
So it was like it's just making sure like those especially those intros and outros, like it gotta be tight for me.
That's something to consider. Next question. We'll kind of end on this. What's your thoughts on the younger generation that's coming up? Like I feel like this generation that's coming up behind us is kind of scary because I think we're at a point now where, for the most part, everyone knows how to play.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is good. At one point, it kind of seemed like, we had a couple of great musicians here and there, but it's like this generation coming up behind us is amazing. So, how does that make you feel when you see, the next generation coming up? Are you excited? Or is there some things that you are concerned about? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm very excited for one. Especially like for me. I have like a group of young musicians at my home church that are
That's
like
amazing.
eager. Like
I love
I'm
that.
like they could hold down the service for real.
I think we've lost that art too, and at least from what I see, like the churches that
Yeah,
I go to, is like there's not really a lot of younger musician that's talk about the young ones. I feel like when I was younger, my eyes was glued on the drums, the keys, all that good stuff. But
yeah,
now church has kind of changed a little bit. So
yeah. It definitely changed a little bit, and so it's more so. I think my main thing for them and even like other young musicians is to make sure that you're rooted and grounded in the history of
mhm,
what you're playing,
that's good.
and like don't just be playing just cause like or just if it feels
Yeah.
like if you playing songs, make
Hmm.
sure like you feel it like because music is a universal language,
Yep.
and I got that from the great Corey Henry. Like he says, it all,
Yeah.
like music is universal language to where like You may not be able to speak the same language as someone in Spain,
Mm-hmm.
but the music, how you come across and how you feel the music, you can relate to that person.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's it's a matter of like knowing what you playing, how you playing it, and then also, I mean, it's been a thing for a minute now, and I get on my young musicians too, like don't be so hyped with the praise breaks and
Mm.
things of that nature. Like, I mean, people said, and they say like, oh, you're hating, but when all you're seeing is praise breaks and laptops and
Vocal
things,
stems and
yeah,
triggers and
you're diminishing like your progress
yeah.
of being everything you're supposed to be as a musician because you're so focused on those things,
Yep.
and then it it hinders you from actually learning because all I have to do is press the space bar,
And we
or
churching. The church go up
yeah,
too.
I mean, and go up.
Come
And
on.
then, but the sad thing is, I can't fault them either because I mean, I've had this conversation before where people in the church said like, "Oh, we do more than just shout and dance." Well, if you really look at the bulk of the service,
Mm-hmm.
especially from where I come from,
Come on.
it's not to say like God ain't moving, like
Yeah.
He's moving. Like everything that we do is like we're led by the Spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, just look at it. Majority of the service is shouting and dancing.
Come on.
So it's like I can't really fault them because that's pretty much all they see.
That's the hype point. That's the
Right.
quote unquote unquote glory of the service.
Exactly. So it's just like it makes it harder for them because that's all they see. But
Mm-hmm.
people like me and people like yourself and others, it's our job to make sure like, okay, yeah, this is what's going on, but let's bring that in and let's make sure like you're being a full musician, like you know
Yeah.
everything there is to know about a service and not just, oh yeah, this the part where everything,
Yep.
we going 10 times up, like we
Yeah.
gonna rush through the worship, but as soon as we get to that turning point, oh, we going crazy. Like, nah, that same energy that you have when it comes to praise breaks, you gotta have the same energy when it comes to
Mm.
slow songs or hymns or like
Yeah.
or just the songs of the church. It could be praise the Lord, everybody. You gotta have that same energy
Yeah. Because we gonna
because
praise the Lord.
we gonna praise Him,
We gonna praise him.
but also you can handle our praise by not knowing what you're playing.
That's good.
So I think those are my main concerns, and so, but I think also their knowledge of playing and like their attention span of playing and like the process of them picking things up is a lot faster. It's
Crazy.
it's crazy, and so I don't see it being a problem. It's just a matter of like them being focused and making sure like they lock in.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much what I have to say when it comes to like the younger musician,
Yeah.
or the young generation rather. Like they got it.
Yeah.
They they just have to put in that time.
Yeah, as you was talking, it made me think about like the whole stems thing. Like this is another conversation and debate that we've seen online. I think my advice, kind of similar to what you said, is like learn the song for what it is. Use these loops and stems as an enhancement, not a cover up of the lack thereof of what you may
Yeah.
not know or do. Because I mean, I'll admit it. There's been times I've played with stems before and I barely knew the song and the stems covered. I'm sure a lot of musicians can. What do we hear all the time? Background vocals as well. Oh, we got stems. I'm good. It's like
Yeah.
perfect example. I want to share this on one of my podcasts as well. There was a time where the stems went out. I was playing with the artist, and there was a time where the stems just stopped working. Thank God I knew the song and I kind of
Right.
prepared in a way where it was like, all right, I know this song enough to get through it and I'm going to be fine. And I was able to eventually trigger in, the stem
Yeah.
once we got to the chorus. But that just kind of made me think like, if I didn't take this gig serious and if I didn't prepare for this, then this would have been really, really, really bad.
Really bad. And then the other thing is though, especially for the younger generation, but your situation is different because your vocabulary is a lot larger. So in a way where you couldn't you if you didn't prepare, you were able, to my knowledge,
Yeah, right.
would have been able to pick up because
Right, right, right.
your vocabulary is at a point where you can pick up.
And then another thing is, as you get better, you learn how to turn mistakes until maybe it's a mistake, but most people may not know because it's like, all right, I know how to recover. Like I know how to
Exactly.
get back on the sticks faster.
Exactly. And I don't think that's where this younger generation is at right now.
Mm.
But if we take away this stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
is it going to still sound full, or is it
Right.
going to sound empty? And
That's
it's like,
good.
because even when it comes to piano playing, like there's a way where you can make piano sound full as jacks, like,
Yeah.
but that's because like you've taken the time out, you put in time to really study
Hmm.
and play left hand chords, right hand chords,
Yep.
things of that nature. But if we take this away and that's not there,
Hmm.
you exposing yourself. So
Yeah.
I think that's the difference, even in situations where like if the laptop isn't there
Mm.
versus like if it is there, you can recover
Yeah.
because your vocabulary is pretty
Hmm.
powerful versus
Right.
a younger generation, and not everybody's the same.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
but there are people where if we take this away,
It's like, what do
you
we
sound
have?
yeah, you sound like you just learned how to play. Like
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah, and it just goes back into I'm all for loops. I'm all for stems.
Yeah,
Like they enhance things, but they shouldn't be the end all be all of. As long as I got my laptop and my loops, we good. It should be well. I don't necessarily need that, but if we got it, let's use it, and
yeah,
I'm good either way.
for sure. Yeah, man. So that's what I feel about that. And like I said, like it's not a huge gap between us and the younger generation. Like they
Mm,
literally pick up like while we're still progressing. Like they're literally like right behind us.
literally.
Versus OGs and our generation, it's low key. It's low key, especially like when it comes to communication. Like
Mm,
these young guys, like they're bold, like and
huh.
they want that connection. Like, yo, like you're my favorite. Like, how can I do
Yeah.
this? How can I be better at this? I'm like, all right, cool. This is what you want to do. I don't see how you gonna benefit from me, but I don't want to put that on them like how I think. So I just answer their
Yeah.
questions of that nature. So like, but it's like they have that boldness and that like that courage to
Tenacity.
yeah, like to like literally ask and like, yo, I want to be like you, or they just they just do it.
Yeah. Carriage. That's
So
good.
yeah,
Well, that is Josh Orr, everyone.
blessings, blessings.
Thank you for doing this interview. This was definitely fun. Tell everyone
Yeah,
where they
man.
can find you at and where they can follow you at.
So I'm on Instagram, J underscore or one. Um, Facebook, Josh Orr. Yeah, I'm working on my YouTube
Come
page.
on, we got to get you on there.
Got to. But yeah, man. On my Instagram, I have a link of all the songs I've played on and produced.
Yes,
Um, so
great idea. By the way, I love that.
yeah, so I think the latest one I put out. or put on the tag or on the link rather. My latest one was playing organ for Tamla Man's single. So like that's the latest one. But I have a lot of others I've played for
Yeah.
and produced for.
Also,
Red Hand.
you've done a lot of work.
Man, I'm trying.
You've
I'm
done a
trying.
lot of work, which is amazing.
Yeah, man. This is one thing, and I have to give credit to him, Josh Mayfield. Like that is my guy. Like we've met, I think we met 2016, and we've been connected ever since. But he told me when we first met, he was like, Jay, this is good, man. You traveling or you going to travel? Because I wasn't traveling at that time. He was like, you gonna do this, you gonna do that, but he was like, make sure people know who Josh Orr is, like as the keyboard player, as the organ, and as the producer. He was like, you don't want to be tied into just church or like, oh, I play for this person or I play for that person. He
Yeah.
was like, you got something. And he was like, make sure you advertise yourself and you brand yourself. So yeah, like ever since he told me that, I mean, I've been terrible. He been getting on me too. Like he been
Yeah.
rebuked, but like he made sure like that things I've done, like I advertise it and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of like just taking the courage and like branding. Like branding is a thing, man.
It
Like
is. And you know what's interesting? I know we were supposed to be wrapping up, but I'm glad that you said that. A lot of times I think we saw the older generation that was super, super too cool. I ain't gonna say they was too cool. Maybe I don't know if they saw the value of branding themselves and putting themselves out there, but in the world we're in now, you literally have to market yourself and put yourself out there. Some opportunities we are missing because people don't know. It's not that you can't do it. It's just, oh, we didn't know you were a producer. We only knew you as the organ player, stuff like that. So
yeah, man. Last thing, it's funny. Like when my single came out, I've gotten quite a few people. It was like, yo, I wasn't expecting this.
hey,
They thought it was going to be
churchy.
organ solo, churchy, things of that nature. But that's because, like, on my posts or the things that I post on my timeline, like it's church, and yes, I'm doing production, but majority of the time I'm out. I'm not out producing or like
Yeah.
playing keys. I'm an organ player majority of the time. So, and like I said, like it's really important to like really advertise and market, especially like if it's things that people aren't accustomed to. Like they're gonna have to get accustomed to it soon. Versus like, oh, this is different. Thank God it was still beneficial.
Yeah.
But it's like people were taken back at the fact that it wasn't church. So
Yep. And that's another thing about human nature. I think all humans do is like we like to put people in boxes because that way we don't have to move them. Like it makes us a little uncomfortable when we have to be like, oh, he does this, and he does this. It's more easier when it's like, oh, that's just the organ player. We know he plays organ. It gets a little more difficult when it's like, oh, he's a producer too, and he knows how to do this.
Legit. So it's just a matter of unlocking those doors and just walking in and not being boxed in, like you said. So
absolutely. Well, thank you again, brother. This was fun. We'll have to have you on again at some point.
Blessings. Nah, I'm joking, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Likewise, brother.